Welcome to the new episode of She Gets It Done. Make sure to hit subscribe, comment or like. We hope you love this week's episode. Enjoy!
Welcome everyone to another episode of She Gets It Done. I'm Toni and I am with Sanne. And today we are going to be talking about puppies and their toilet training. So we're going to go over the do's and don'ts and essentially how you can get your puppy potty trained as fast as possible.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I feel like toilet training is definitely one that I get a lot of messages about as a dog trainer, but that I can really not help a lot with. Like, I can tell you a lot. Like, this podcast is probably going to be something I'm going to send to my clients. And I have a house training, potty training online course as well that's free that I send. But as a dog trainer, you can't really go in the house and do a potty training session. Because what if the dog doesn't need to go toilet? You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
It's something you have to do yourself. Like, that's because I know that people contact me specifically for toilet training. And I'm like, yeah, well, this is something you have to do with the advice of the trainer.
And it's not easy. I think it is actually like the setup for getting a puppy toilet trained. It's not easy. And it's not like a simple, like just chuck them out like a couple of times and they'll understand exactly what you want. There's like a lot of it to bringing into puppy toilet training. And I think we start going over that, people are, oh my God, like there's so much to it. But it also just ties into house training in general. But yeah, there's a lot to toilet training, and it's not like I can just come in and be like, do this, and then it's
fixed.
You're ready to go. So yeah, there's lots of different points to it. So I thought we'd cover that today, some advice just to help speed it up, and kind of if you've just got your puppy or you're thinking about getting a puppy or you've just had them really recently and you're having issues at the moment, now you can kind of change things up and just get yourself back on track.
Absolutely. What would be your number one thing when it comes to toilet training that you're like, it could be positive or a negative, that you go straight away, do this or don't do this? Like, what would you say?
No puppy pee pads. That would probably be like one of the number one is no puppy pee pads. And they're a thing that are sold to people and they think they're doing the right thing because they're giving their puppies a place to pee in the house, right? Because they don't want them peeing on the carpet. What you don't realize, as soon as you put a puppy pee pad down, the puppies don't understand that they're not supposed to pee in the house.
Exactly. So you make it an option, right?
They're like,
I can pee in the house. Cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, oh, there's a puppy pee mat. Yeah, go toilet there. But then you don't, and then like one time they'll be like, oh, okay, well I can just pee in the house. They're not going to associate only the puppy pee mat is just a place. It's just the house is a place.
Yeah, I definitely see that when the dogs hit about 5-6 months, then they're kind of over the pee pads, but they're so used that peeing inside the house is allowed that towels or like doormats or rugs, then, because for them it's all the same. They're like, well, I was allowed to pee on this thing. What's the difference with this towel or this blanket? Like, the dog doesn't know.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously people are doing the well-intentioned thing, like thinking, oh, I'll get the puppy pee pads and then, we'll
help the puppy
them outside and everything. But what you're really just doing is, like I've said in the previous podcast, is dogs are very black and white. You either do this or you don't do that.
Yeah.
So just don't use puppy pee pads. And the other thing I think people use it for is convenience, because then they feel like they don't have to watch the puppy all the time. They're like, oh, well, they'll just go pee on the puppy pee pad. But it's not that easy.
You're basically training your dog to pee inside the house. And then when the dog gets too big, you have to untrain that and then train him to go outside. Yeah. And I just did a Facebook post on Friday about how long it takes for a dog to learn something, or for a human. It's based on human science, but so it's 300 to 500 reps for something to become natural to the body, and then 3,000 to 5,000 reps to become automatic, right? If you learn something new in the gym or whatever. So let's just apply that to dogs as well. So if you teach you, and I mean, I don't know how often a dog pees in a day. Let's say 5 times a day. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
5 times, and then 300 divided by 5. That's like 60 days. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
So
rough math. Rough math. We'll say it's right.
So that's 2 months that the puppy takes to pee inside the house. So that's 2 months of training to pee inside the house. So now you have to unlearn that and retrain outside, which will be like 10 times as long. So
because you have to undo the first behavior and then retrain the second behavior, which is just outside.
Exactly, which is then 200 months. 200? Surely that's too much. I don't know, 20 months. I'm a dog trainer, okay? I'm not a maths teacher. So it's a long time. And I was talking to this lady the other day, and we were actually arguing on Facebook, good old Facebook community group argument, right? And she was telling me that using the crate was so awful and to use puppy pee pads. And then she said, my dog wasn't house trained until 2 years old. I'm like, yeah, because you use puppy pee pads. It takes so long to untrain. I'm not saying that every dog on a puppy pee pad takes 2 years, but it just seems so odd to teach your dog to pee inside the house. Unless you live in an apartment and all you have is a balcony, then okay. Yeah, that's a different situation.
Yeah. If you got a backyard, don't use it. So I guess like some of the things that I kind of give advice on is as soon as you brought your puppy home, even before you've put them like down on the ground, take them straight outside. Straight outside, and even just hang out with them for a bit, because obviously they're going to smell things and get used to it. And then if hopefully they've gone to the toilet straight away, if you know, because puppies pee a lot depending on the age. So like obviously if you're getting like a puppy from a breeder, they're usually 8 weeks. Usually their bladders are really, really weak then. Tiny. So they pee a lot. But if say you got a dog that was either rehome or rescue or like stayed with the breeder unusually longer than what expected, then they're probably the bladder's going to be a bit longer, then they like hold a bit more than that. So they may not. But if they do pee outside straight away, then you've already set that kind of like, this is where you go toilet, big praise. You can give them a treat, but also relieving themselves is a reward.
I never give a treat for toilet time.
Yeah. I mean,
I find it so unnecessary. Well done, you peed.
Yeah.
And the praise, just to go like, good job.
Yeah.
So whatever. That'll be
just
enough.
Encourage it, right? But like, people want to do that little bit extra. They can.
Then go for it.
But urinating in itself or going potty is a relief in itself.
The puppy needs to be on a schedule. Your pup needs to be supervised. Right? Yep. If your puppy isn't supervised, they get opportunities to pee wherever they want in the house because you weren't watching them. Yeah, and we need to look for signs. So what are common signs of puppies needing to go toilet?
Sniffing the ground.
Circling.
Yeah. All that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. When they get a bit older, you often see them walking to the door that you let them out often. Yeah. That's a very clear sign. Whining, barking. Yeah, those
trying to settle, like if they start starting to pace around, all of that kind of stuff. Look for that.
That's it. So that's your first one. Like, learn how to see signs and see where your puppy is, because I do think it's a common mistake, right? We get the puppy home and they get the whole house. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Like, use baby gates or a puppy playpen when you can't look at your dog. Like, I often recommend that. I think a lot of people find that a really like a shitty thing that I say, oh, well, if you're not looking at your puppy, they're not allowed to be out in the house. You know, I find a lot of people don't like that. They resist that quite a bit.
Yeah. But also dogs don't think the same way as people, as, you know, like dogs don't always cope with a lot of space. They actually, you know, can get a little bit unsettled. So actually giving your puppy a quiet place where they can just relax and also encourages them to kind of be by themselves as well. So you're giving them like, so if I'm going to go cook something, I can't watch you. Let's just pop you in the puppy pen, give you some toys, and you can just chill in there until I'm ready to watch you.
Yep. And then the plus side of that, when the puppy pen or the crate becomes sleep, like a sleep spot. They don't want to pee in that spot.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the main reasons I always recommend using a crate.
Yeah.
Because dogs don't like to pee in the crate. So what do they learn? They learn to indicate. They learn to cry out or to paw on the crate or to give us something to let us know, I need to go toilet now. And that's then on you as the owner to be like lightning quick.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. If they peed in their crate, it's because they were absolutely busting and we weren't listening, you know?
Yeah, and you missed
They
it.
had no other option but to go toilet. And especially for puppies, it kind of varies because I got my recent puppy quite young, but she had a bladder of steel. Like I was taking her out every
Zelda
30
did
minutes
too.
to an hour. She wasn't needing to pee for like 3 hours. But then I knew another puppy the same age that literally had
Every time.
no bladder and had to go all the time. So also, yeah, figuring out like how often your puppy needs to pee, to go potty. And as they get older, obviously that will extend out as their bladder gets you know, a bit bigger and everything, but also keeping track of how often your puppy needs to go potty. So at the beginning, like when you first bring them home, just take them out all the time. Like maybe every hour, take them out.
I say that every hour on the hour. Like if you look at the clock now, and right now it's 5 o'clock, say it was 15:15, then I say every hour at 15:15 you go out. Yeah, every hour.
And also if they don't go, that's when you really need to start watching them really closely because they'll be getting to the point of needing to go to the toilet, especially when they're really young. And that's the opportunity where people kind of go, oh, they didn't go toilet, and they kind of forget about it. And then about 20 minutes later, the puppy goes in the house. Yeah. So it's not an easy task, potty training. It's not. But if you can just stick to it for
I think if you stick to the every hour on the hour, after every time the pup drinks or eats, wakes up from sleep and plays.
Absolutely.
Those are like my key ones. If you take them out every single time after that, then you would be very on the ball with it. I would say that if you then miss one, well, then it's just an accident.
It's just an accident. And also, like, what would you say are the don'ts if your puppy does go to the toilet and the house has an accident?
So the old school one, the whole like rub your puppy's nose in it, like don't. Why would we do that? That's so it's old school. I don't even know where that came from. It's just I don't know. Do you know where that came from?
I don't know. I heard it when I was younger. Like, when we had puppies,
like your puppy is a baby, right? Like if we imagine like a 2-year-olds are getting trained, right, to get out of diapers.
Yeah.
So if a 2-year-old child pees their pants or something or doesn't make it to the toilet, we're not punishing them. For, oh my God, you pooped your pants instead of letting me know or getting to the potty on time, whatever you call that. So we just say, oh, damn it.
Oh, dear.
We missed it. Next time better.
Yeah. And also, bar that point is also like most of the time it's happened like 10, 20 minutes ago.
That
your puppy has no idea what you're talking about. You know,
never punish if you didn't see it.
Yeah, and that's for any behavior. Like you get a lot of people saying, oh, well, my dog was like, you know, like doing the sad face. I'm like, they're not responding to that. They're actually responding to your body language. And often people go, oh, okay, I didn't know that. But it's kind of like,
he doesn't actually feel guilty. He's just worried what you're going to do.
Yeah. He's like, oh, they're not happy about something. Like I'm a bit concerned.
That's it.
So that's another reason to obviously not. So if you catch your puppy in the action of going to let's go, oh, oops, and pick them up, put them outside. Hopefully they'll finish a little bit.
I do tell them off then.
Yeah.
I do. Not for an 8-week-old and not for a 10-week-old, but when we get to like 12 to 16 weeks, it's actually a funny story because when we were trying to house train Lennox, we went to positive only puppy school, right? And I wasn't like Lennox got me into dog training, so I didn't really know much about that whole thing yet. And she was very much about, oh, if you scold your dog, they're traumatized, you will traumatize your dog. Like it was like one of those, right? And we kept having issues with Lennox peeing inside the house. I think he even did a poo here and then. Even though he was generally really good, sometimes we just felt like he wanted to pop a squat in the middle of the living room for the sake of, like, he'd look at us. And we asked the dog trainer then, so what are we supposed to do? And she said, just go oopsie and put him outside. And I'm like, well, we tried that, and he's now 4 months old and he's still doing it.
Yeah.
And then my partner did it once. Like, he caught Lennox in the act, and he actually like, oi, get out, like something like that. I can't remember what he said. And then he let him out, never peed in the house again.
Yeah.
So
and like, again, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It can just be like something like that. Yeah.
So if the pup is getting to that age that they kind of know what to do, you know that they know. I feel like you should be able to say, like, oi, get outside. We don't do that inside the house anymore. Like, they understand your tone, you know, like, and I've also lifted pups up mid-pee to be like, no, we're going outside.
Quickly outside, hopefully get a little bit of the wee outside.
And usually, I mean, it's not nice to be lifted up while you're peeing, right? They'll get like a startle response.
Yeah.
So that generally also teaches them, like, this is not supposed
That's
to
not
do
where
this.
I'm supposed to go. I'm meant to go outside. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, rubbing your nose? No, absolutely not. But gently telling your dog no, I think that's okay.
Yeah.
When you're at the 12-week or older mark.
Yeah, definitely. When they're at that stage that you kind of like, you know, they're getting the hang of it. They understand they're meant to kind of, this is the spot where I'm meant to go.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's a little bit of like, it can be like bad weather or something, or, you know,
totally.
Like, you know what, I just don't want to go outside and pee. I'm just going to pee.
Yeah, totally. And I think as well, you need to make sure it wasn't your fault.
Yes.
Like, if your pup does it because all the doors are closed and they couldn't get outside, well, that's on you. That's not on your dog.
Yeah, and if you weren't watching them, like if all the doors were shut and you weren't actively watching them, so you couldn't actually see them doing it, then yeah.
I actually thought you brought up a good thing there about the rain. I feel like a lot of people need to work on having their dogs go toilet in the rain, but also on weird surfaces. Like, some dogs can't pee if it's not on grass, or they have only used the concrete and they don't know how to pee on grass, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, just walking them on different surfaces. I have a bit of a funny story. It was last week, because I get up early in the morning to go and do pack walks, and I always let our girls out to the toilet as soon as I get up in the morning so that they don't have to hold it any longer.
Yeah.
And there was like a light drizzle, and one of my dogs was like, all right, I'm going to go outside, I'm going to go pee. And I was like, good. And the other one looks at me like, are you serious? And I was like, yes, I am serious. So she's like, oh. And so she slinks on over to the grass, and then she's just mucking about. And I'm like, you need to go toilet. And so my other dog's already come back by this point. So I've dried her paws because obviously it's muddy. So, and then she goes back. And then all of a sudden, because my other dog had mucked around so much, this heavy rain just pelted down on her. And you should have seen her face. She was absolutely horrified. And I was like, well, if you'd just gone to the toilet straight away.
Oh my
I've never seen her run so fast back to the door.
That's
and
funny.
Actually, she's been a lot quicker now going toilet.
There you go. She's like, okay, I'll just quickly do it.
Go out. Yep. Hopefully it's rain.
My dogs are terrible with going to the toilet when it rains. Like, I thought Lennox was bad, but Zelda, she has a bladder of steel. I think we once timed it at like 20 hours. And I had to drag her outside, literally drag her on a leash to stand under a tree. And I was like, go to the toilet now. I think I even had an umbrella, and eventually she went to toilet. But she's just,
can you imagine the relief? Yeah. Like,
honestly.
oh my one thing, and as you said about like the texture and everything, actually that got me thinking. So at our house, it used to be, which is something for people to keep in mind, like if they ever move house and their dogs are a little bit funny with going toilet or anything, we've got our deck area, and then it had like a raised grass area.
Oh, yeah.
My dogs were fine with going to the toilet before we moved to this house. But then as soon as they had to climb up onto the grass, like a step, it made them feel really awkward, and they didn't want to get on the grass.
Right.
Ever since we've actually pulled out that raised area and we've like smoothed it down, and now they go straight onto the to go toilet, which is like what you said, like mate, was interesting is that
That's funny, eh?
small things like that can affect it.
Yeah, like when we just moved here, we only had pebbles on the side, and we had to buy Zelda like a fake grass mat because she just couldn't figure out she was allowed to pee on those pebbles.
Mm.
Took her like a week or week and a half, and
Oh,
then she finally managed. She was like, "Oh, I can go toilet now."
yeah. Yeah.
Poor dog.
Oh, bless. If you can be as successful as possible at catching your puppy every time before they go toilet in the house and getting them outside, it is really going to speed up the process of avoiding these accidents.
Absolutely.
The more opportunities your puppy has to repeat going toilet in the house, it just slows it down. Whether it's because they're just not sure about whether they can go in the house or not, or if it's just because like the same situation with you and Lennox is, you know, he had been successfully going out to the toilet and it was kind of just like just have the odd little accident. So the more you can avoid those, the faster it can get at toilet training them. But you have to be committed to it. And I definitely think that making sure as long as you are watching them like if they're out and about, you have to be watching them. If you can't watch them, pop them away. And definitely I think the big thing is crate training is one of those things that really you should be investing in, if not a puppy pen, if you don't want to do crate training.
Yeah, I think crate training is the best thing in house training a dog.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm very, very much against a free roaming puppy under 6 months old at night. Like I'm just against a free roaming dog at night as is. Like I feel like dogs should just be in a crate or in a laundry or something so we can ensure they get enough sleep, they don't chew anything, they don't start barking at stuff, but especially for the young ones that they don't pee wherever they want. They need to learn to wake you up and you have to get up at night.
Yeah, well, we would just set random alarms during the night. Like, so we didn't have it on a fixed time, obviously, because then the puppy doesn't hear an alarm and like immediately like needs. So especially when she got a bit older and we were finding that she didn't need to go as often, but we would actually set alarms so we made sure we got up, took her outside and went to the toilet, because you can do it all during the day, like every hour on the dot. You can't then expect them to hold it for like what, eight hours overnight going toilet. But again, like I said, they'll get bigger bladders as they get older. Like they grow fairly quickly. So if you can commit to it for like at least a few weeks, like getting up really regularly.
Yeah, I do feel like nighttime is always faster than daytime.
Yeah.
Like I've got clients that have like they can sleep from 11 till 6 after like 4 days of crate training.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them, because you just have to listen.
Yeah.
If they wake you up, you go.
Yeah, and I think the brain switches, because obviously they're sleeping, like just everything switches off. So they're not like thinking about it, whereas during the day they're busy and they're doing things. So like their body's always moving, getting their bowels going and everything. Whereas when they're just asleep, everything's like more relaxed. Yeah, that would be like my really big points from it.
Yeah. Yeah, the crate is just gonna avoid so many things. We'll do an episode on crate training just alone.
Yeah, there's a lot to go over that, like the obviously the benefits and everything, but I definitely push for crate training, and it does really help speed up the whole process, and just in every other way. And also the other reason you don't really want your puppies free roaming is they also don't have the maturity to know what to do and what not to do. So your puppy might chew on like live wire cables and all of that. So bar just toilet training alone, just the safety point of view, if like you've got something like a Labrador or like, like likes to pick things up, they can swallow socks, that can lead to surgeries, everything. So just having management in general, not just for puppy toilet training, is really important.
Yeah. Another schedule that I like to recommend is the hourly rotation. So I say like 1 hour in the crate, 1 hour on a leash, and you don't have to hold the leash. You can even have the puppy drag it. Could be simple piece of rope attached to the pup. So if you see them do something, you can fairly easily correct them and or lead them out without having to pick them up or hold them by the collar, because that's quite aversive if you have to grab them around the neck all the time.
Yeah.
And then 1 hour of free time. And free time is then playtime or go in the backyard, or you get the living room whilst I'm there, and then back again, hour in the crate, hour on the leash, hour of free time. And that creates a very structured pup that learns how to turn off, and they don't go in those crazy, well, they will still get a bit crazy, but they don't go in those crazy frenzies where they just end up biting everything.
Yeah, they need a lot of rest. And often, like, when people say, like, oh, my puppy's mouthing me a lot, I'm like, they might be actually just overtired. Like, how long have they been up? Like, really, they do need those, like, hour rotations of sleep, especially when they're really young.
Yeah.
It's like babies, like, they're down a lot for lots of sleeps and everything. Otherwise, they just get overstimulated and overtired.
Should the pup wear a leash or not?
Depends. I think most of the time, like, if I'm in the backyard, I would just clip the lead off and let them go. But I guess if they need a little bit more assistance, like if they go and pick things up instead of actually focusing on the job that they have to do. So if you've got a dog that likes to pick up bark and,
just get sidetracked.
Just get sidetracked really easily. Probably a lead would be good at the beginning, and then over time you can probably try and like drop the lead and then clip off the lead. But if you find they kind of get quite distracted, then I would be, putting the lead on just so you can be like, no, we need to go toilet, keep you in this area. Yeah.
Like nighttime, I prefer to use a leash.
Yeah.
Like, especially if it's like in the middle of the night, I would just have the lead on the crate, clip the pup on, walk them outside, go toilet, go back in. Just to avoid them like, oh, now I want to play with this or play with that. Or the puppy forgets to go toilet.
Yeah, literally just puppy brain, right? It's just like really young children, like they just get distracted by everything. Just keep the puppy on task.
That's it.
And like we said, like as they get older, they'll get into that habit of like, when I go outside, I need to go toilet, and then once they get into that routine, and that also avoids them also picking stuff up and eating them like bark and stuff that you don't want them to eat.
I think it's important to talk about that puppy brain for a minute, because I feel like that's a very common complaint people have. They're like, oh, I just stood outside with my pup for 30 minutes, or we just went for a 20-minute walk, and the moment we got inside, the puppy went to the toilet.
Yeah.
So
because they're busy doing everything else, and they're not thinking about what they need to do.
That's it. So it's just, I always say, like, it's like kids at the playground. They're playing, and then they realize they have to go toilet. And there isn't actually time to get to the toilet.
Because, they're at that point.
They waited really so long.
To go toilet, yeah.
So,
and that's the thing, going back to, like, if you take your puppy out and they don't go toilet at that time, you need to, like, watch them really closely, because it'll probably be really quickly that they'll actually need to go toilet afterwards.
Yeah.
So just because they didn't go toilet straight away doesn't mean you shouldn't take them out in, like, 10 minutes time.
That's it. Because, especially if you just start walking your pup, it's super overwhelming. Like, oh my God, what are cars? What are these smells? Like, what is going on here, So a lot of pups are like,
going to the toilet.
Oh my gosh, I forgot toilet. And I feel like that's a very common thing with the more anxious dogs or the reactive dogs. They just don't pee because they're too anxious to go. They don't go. Like, took Zelda a year to go toilet outside, and pooping was even longer. Like, she would never ever poop out on walks.
Well, that's the same with my dog Ellie, who the one who didn't want to go toilet and then got caught in the rain. So my partner used to take her to work with him, and on his lunch breaks he'd go out and take her to the toilet, and she would never go to the toilet out and about. And she's quite a sensitive dog, like quite anxious. It's only been, she started going toilet probably outside probably around like the 6, 7, 8 month, when she got a little bit more, like a little bit braver and got more into routine. But even then, like, she would hold it the whole time, and he'd go out every hour and try to get her to go toilet. But as soon as she got home, we put her straight outside, because she would do a big wee because she was busting to go toilet and just wouldn't go toilet.
Yeah. I think that is important, especially for the people that adopt rescue dogs that are a bit older, and they're like, oh, the dog keeps peeing inside the house and never goes on a walk. That's anxiety.
Yeah.
It's peeing and pooping, that's a vulnerable position to be in. Like, when they squat down and they look at you, and I'm like, stop making eye contact with me. But it's like,
Yeah, well, it's even like they're too busy thinking about other things. Like you said, like with puppy brain, like they're too busy thinking about something else, like what's going on, like where is everything? I'm in, like, like in a nervous state. They're not thinking about, oh, I need to go to the toilet. Like they're too busy to like
Yeah, they're like, oh
focusing
my
on
God, there's a dog
everything
there.
else.
It's like,
So yeah, if you have like a more anxious puppy, maybe like just take them straight outside, give them the opportunity to go toilet,
yeah.
and then bring them inside. Yeah.
Then I think the last one for me is don't put any water in the crate. Like, or puppy pen, or overnight. Your puppy doesn't eat water overnight.
No.
Is that something you see a lot? I was like, oh yeah, but he knocks his water over in the crate. I'm like, why is there water in the crate to begin with?
I've actually never had that.
Really?
But then I do know a couple of people that have water in their crates for their dogs, like if they're in there for like a few hours, but like they're older dogs, like and they're mainly ones. Yeah. But they're mainly ones that might have come back from like a walk with me, so like just so that they can have it and all that. But like they're adult dogs, like they're well grown. Like, but for puppies, no, I haven't really too much. And no, and it will just make a mess, like it knocks over everything, and then
but it also gives them like a full bladder, and now I have to pee.
Right? Yeah, and where are they going to go? And especially if you're not watching them, and they're like, oh my God, I need to wee, but I can't get out, being a pen crate because they can't go anywhere else.
Exactly. Because, I mean, I don't know about your dogs, but mine go in at like, I don't know, 10 p.m.-ish or 11, and then they get out at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Give or take. They don't rush to their water bowl. They rush to my bed to come and cuddle under the covers.
That's what my dog does. Well, my lab is rushing to get breakfast in the morning because that's her priority in life, is definitely not water.
Yeah.
And then my other dog, she'd just happily hop in bed like as soon as she gets out. Right. So I have to nag them to go toilet, and then they come back in, and then they go to bed.
That's it. Yeah. So I feel like for the people that are worried that their dog is getting thirsty, I mean, based on a very limited research of 4 dogs, I mean, most dogs are not that thirsty that when they come out, they're like lapping up a whole bowl of water because, I mean, there's plenty of people that sleep through the night and don't drink any water in between.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it also depends on like the diet that you're feeding your dog as well. True. Like if they've got more like a kibble base, but it's really like quite wheat based, they'll probably drink a bit more. Yep. But then if they're kind of more raw fed, where I find, because my dogs are raw fed, that they don't really drink much water. But again, you can always give them the opportunity before, like maybe an hour before they go to the toilet to go to bed, is their last chance to have a drink of water. An hour and a half, they can have a drink of water. If they're not worried about it, just pick the water bowl up. They'll be fine till the morning. And then when they get up in the morning, can take them out to the toilet and they can have a drink, or go have a drink first, then go to the toilet, whatever.
Yeah, whatever they want. But usually it's not water.
Yeah, no.
So
most of the time it's either go toilet or food for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For me, it's toilet in bed. And then after an hour, it's, I think it's time for breakfast now.
Yeah.
Not Zelda. Zelda could cuddle forever. She is...
Yeah. No, nothing. The day doesn't happen till Nova has food. So, and she's a Labrador, so food's life. So
that's very fair.
So,
if we would summarize our tips.
So for management, we're going to be doing either crate training or puppy pen, watching your dog if they need to go toilet, taking them out regularly, not having puppy pee pads around the house, and watching them very closely if they are out and about.
That's it. And don't rub your puppy's nose in their own feces. It's gross and abusive.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't. Yep. That's it. So if you need this in a PowerPoint presentation and you want a training program, check out my free potty training, toilet training online course. It's on YouTube and it's on my website, and you get like a really handy little tracker sheet so you know how well your dog is doing. So I'll link that in the description. Yeah, and then all the best with training your puppy. Like the puppy weeks are fun and also not fun all at the same time.
They're not easy, but if you just stick to it, you'll come out the other side and it'll be so much easier. Trust us. don't use puppy pee pads.
Exactly. Alrighty. If you have any questions, make sure you ask them in the comments. We'd love to hear feedback, and then we'll see you next time. And I think we might have a special guest on.
Yes, maybe.
We do. So,
yeah, stay tuned.
If you want to make a guess, feel free to do that in the comments. Who is going to be our next international guest? All right. See you next time.
Bye.